Okay, I'm coming home Tuesday morning. It's Saturday night. Coming home Tuesday morning from Colorado. Having a good time. Fantasy football draft, baby. Went well. I want to address some of the things being said in the community, and I think Climb Crypto, so I'm bringing him up again. I love Climb Crypto. I'm bringing him up again because I think he's voicing some of what I'm seeing in the community, some of what I'm seeing that are kind of a little bit irked or pissed off at how this whole thing went down with this recent announcement, the AMA this week that happened. Let's talk about it. Hopefully this video isn't so long, but bear with me. Okay, few things. Let's go over a few things. I think, and I said in my previous video, it was brilliant how the team couldn't have done much better on anything, I don't think. As far as they handle the tokenomics, big picture, step back. Let's step back. Jewel is no longer in the same category as an in-game utility token. Never will be. And now all in-game utility tokens on each blockchain will be uniform across all blockchains. They'll have the same tokenomics and utility across all blockchains. They'll essentially be the same. Jewel is no longer in that category. Soon. Currently, it still is. Soon, Jewel, and as far as the token unlocking, instead of just, they're moving Serendale to a new blockchain. So given the situation and everything that's going on, Serendale, new blockchain, and a token unlocking that's coming that will literally nearly triple the supply of Jewel being unleashed onto the market. Essentially now what's happening is that most of the volume and everything of the in-game activity is moving to Crystalville in the short term. Then slowly there will also be a lot being moved to this new Serendale that's happening. So what's going to happen is that instead of a massive unlocking of Jewel, now it's going to be split 50-50 essentially into Crystal and this new Jewel that's replacing Jewel. Basically, Jewel's being replaced is what's happening. And now Jewel, that will now soon become a deflationary token, its use case is actually somewhat lessened. However, we already know that Jewel is the gas token on Crystalville at about 1 million or 1.5 million transactions per day. That's going to go up to 5 million per day real soon, especially when parity comes, when everything's actually functional on the Crystalville blockchain. There's going to be 5 million transactions per day. Absolutely, without question, on Crystalville coming. Then Serendale will open up, and some of that will be relieved. And currently, there's 5,000 in-game daily active users. 5,000. So, and all future, they want to also eventually maybe move to Polygon. They kind of said that. Who knows? Who else? They didn't mention Phantom, but I think Phantom's possible. They mentioned Aurora. I think they might have even mentioned Algorand. They're going to want to have multiple, and this has been the play the whole time. Nothing new. Nothing's new. There'll be this game and new, what do we call it? A new world or whatever, universe will be built on each blockchain. Serendale, Crystalville is how it's starting. There'll be more. And on each blockchain, we're going to have a utility token with identical tokenomics across the board, is my understanding. All this, I could be wrong. That's my understanding. We'll have the same 250 million eventual tokens happening on each blockchain. And will only ever have 125 million Joule. Joule has always been the primary token in the entire ecosystem. And especially so, I think Climb made a good call when before all the pumping happened, he called it, saying that Crystal's going to pump, Joule's going to dump. He called it, but he didn't say Joule's going to dump. He just said Crystal's going to pump better, essentially is what he was saying. But by the time Crystal was over twice the value, now there's all of a sudden zero use case for Crystal, because the only thing that's going to happen on Crystalville when Crystal is twice the value is that questing, that's all. Summoning will still happen on Serendale until there's parity, until it's 1-to-1. Otherwise, there's no real in-game use case. For real-world use case, we need Joule for summoning, leveling, and for the gas fees. Gas token is Joule, which is minimal. Okay. So what's changed now? Essentially, by the spirit of what's actually happening, nothing's changing. The unlocking that's happening is going to still go into the utility tokens, and Joule's the gas fees. Joule's going to be the gas fee on Clayton as well. They said that. Now, they're not going to do a subnet type thing. It doesn't look like. They were going to do that, but they want to keep it on the main blockchain. And so what they're going to do is a pass-through where the fees are done in Joule, but actually it's done on the back end in the Clay token. That's what's going to happen. But essentially, Joule's still going to be the gas token on the Clayton blockchain and on Crystalville, and likely on all of the blockchains they move to. Joule's going to be the governing token, and they mentioned in the AMA that it may have other utility as far as in the PvP and PvE realms. And there's going to be a plethora of use case. So Crystal and the new Clay token that's actually for the in-game use, that's essentially replacing Joule, is what it's doing. Those tokens will actually have more in-game utility. So from an investment perspective, there's going to be more people who want to invest in the coin while not playing the game. They don't want to get in there and buy the heroes and play the game. They just want to invest in the project because they see the value and potential in the project. That's where I was before I got in. I was just in the pools. I was interested in Joule, but I wasn't at the time interested in playing the game. I didn't want to go buy hero. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. It takes a lot to learn the game. It's not easy. I'm still learning the game, and I do this like full time. Okay. And a lot of people, somebody messaged me today, said they've been in this game since December and they're still learning how to play this game and all the ins and outs. Shout out to all you guys. I love the love I'm getting. I'm just blown away. Love you guys. We're going to keep going. Okay. So that's the big picture. Joule is like going to be the most valuable token to own. But Crystal and this new token and whatever other new utility in-game token comes out for new blockchains will be absolutely valuable. And at times, maybe more valuable than even Joule. But Joule will always be the king. Never, and especially when Joule is less than half price of Crystal. Never should anyone have ever said to still buy more Crystal and dump Joule. No, that was nonsense. So own that if you were saying that. That's okay. Okay, never. So if for anyone who is saying, and that there was plenty of people saying, even when Jewel was less than half, Crystal was more than double the price of Jewel. People were still saying to sell the Jewel and buy the Crystal. No way. That was not smart. And you're essentially making a statement that you don't trust the team, that they're going to handle the situation like they said they would. The team said there would never be a massive dumping of Jewel on the market. They made it clear, and solutions would be provided. You either trust them or you don't. I don't blame you if you don't trust them. And I don't blame you if you're just in it to make a quick buck. That's most people. But if you actually believe in the project and believe in the team, you want to listen carefully to what they say. And what was overwhelmingly clear always was that Jewel will always be the king token in the ecosystem. And yes, Crystal, these other tokens that may come up on other blockchains will still be awesome and valuable, but Jewel will always be king. So, okay, it's one thing when we see like Crystal at 18 cents and Jewel at 14 or 15 cents, and then we see Harmony collapsing to think in the short term, okay, buy Crystal, not Jewel right now. That was smart. And we saw what happened. We saw actually Jewel came up from that, but Crystal doubled in price and value. That was a good call. But at that point, there's no sense. I thought maybe it would even get a little crazy and go 3-1, like 3 Jewel equaling 1 Crystal. That was absolutely the limit. But in my mind, actually the limit shouldn't have ever even gone beyond 2-1, ever, because it doesn't even make sense. But given the situation and circumstances, everything was moving to Crystalville. Harmony is in shambles. That made sense in the very short term. But we knew long term, Jewel is king, always. And to say anything else just means you don't trust the team to properly handle the situation. Same with the Jewel unlocking. It just didn't compute in my brain to think that they're just going to let the total supply of Jewel triple in 1 year. And so just to move forward and think that's going to be the case is nonsensical. You don't have your head in the game. Your head is in 50 other places. So when YouTubers, what I meant to say in the last video, and I didn't even drive home the point, what we have in a lot of YouTubers is a jack of all trades, master of none. And I don't ever want to be, I never want to make statements about projects when I don't know what the hell exactly what I'm talking about. And that's my biggest pet peeve, honestly. So guys that I love, and one of the ones I mentioned was Hustle, last video. Hustle is awesome gaming crypto guy, but he's 1 inch deep. He's got a huge pool that he's swimming in. He covers all the games, practically entire crypto ecosystem, and that's great. But he doesn't really know anything about any of the games on a deep level. He's not deeply entrenched in any one single game. So when he covered DeFi Kingdoms, obviously he gave you the 1 inch deep news. He said the same thing that George said, who's also 1 inch deep on all projects and gives you the surface news. They have staff that read news and then they report it. So George said, Frisky Fox is leaving the project. I'm getting out. This is a dead project. Essentially, he said he doesn't think it's going to survive. That's what George said. And then Hustle came a day later and basically said the same thing. And then they never came back to say, oops, that was false news, fake news. Frisky Fox is not leaving. They did an actually community vote, which was stupid by Frisky Fox. And I told him that straight up. And he received it. It was great. And we had a long conversation after that. And I said, stop it. Man up and take control of the project. You're in control. This is your baby. You started this from scratch. Stop this nonsense community vote thing, giving the power to people that don't know even the ins and outs and what's actually happening in the project. So don't do this community vote. Well, it didn't matter because it was like 99% passed or 98. I don't remember. It was overwhelmingly passed that they wanted Frisky Fox to stay. Okay, good. So don't fall on your own sword. I understand a lot of people are pissed off at you right now, Frisky Fox. I get it. It's the world we live in. People like to FUD, and people even FUD their own bags. Okay. So when they don't even know what they're talking about, so just stop it. Stop making YouTube videos until you know exactly what you're talking about. Biggest pet peeve. Drives me nuts. So, token unlocking. Team made it clear. They're not just going to let it dump. What I thought, and what Neindorf and different big guys deep into the game thought that we would be incentivized to further lock up our jewel so that there's not a big dump on the market, and we would be highly rewarded down the road by doing so. That's what I kind of thought was coming. Well, essentially, the same thing's happening. The jewel that the team owns the majority of, the locked jewel. They're forfeiting that, the more valuable token, jewel. And that locked jewel is now being split, essentially mostly split into crystal and the token that's basically replacing what jewel has always been, which is the in-game utility token. And now jewel, it's all going to be uniform, and all the tokenomics across all the chains that this game is happening in will now be uniform across all chains, and they should always be considered to be paired one-to-one. And the fun part about the game is that sometimes it gets out of whack and different things are going, and you can sometimes profit from that, and that's fun. But long term, when we look at this now, we have 5,000 daily active users in the world on this game. That is so unbelievably, stupidly oversold. Unless this game could fail. So maybe it's not oversold. Maybe this all goes to zero. That's possible. But if it's going to succeed, holy smokes. Just imagine when we get back to 100,000 users, 200,000 users, 1 million users, millions of users. And yes, obviously, Climb, crypto, my man, this game hinges 100% hinges on the success of PvP and PvE. If PvP and PvE fail, we are effed. This is going to be an utter disaster. But guess what? What did the team just do? They teamed up with a company who specializes in gaming, and they specialize in brain moment. They specialize in not just gaming, but they specialize in gaming sports. That's what they specialize. They have an arena. So in the upcoming Olympics, we're going to see the gaming sports be an Olympic sport, where gamers, like on League of Legends and stuff, are literally playing in the Olympics. That's coming. It might even come in the next Olympics, but by 2028, we're going to have it. Guess what project I believe has potential to be one of the best of them all? DeFi Kingdoms, baby. And games will be built upon games. It's already happening. It's already happening. And the foundation is there. It's in place. and the quality and substance of the game and the heroes and the NFTs are in place thanks to Frisky Fox and Dreamer, and I think really thanks to Hubert and Beetle Dude and those guys who are, there's so much brilliance and genius behind the game. In this game, it's just unbelievable. So yeah, obviously PvP, PvE are hinged. The success of PvP and PvE hinge upon the success of this entire project. Obviously, we don't just want to sit there and quest our heroes. Okay, I make enough jokes about questing our freaking heroes, and we all get pissed off and quest fatigue, and that's why botting is good for the game. And I don't think the devs are against botting. I hear that all the time. The devs are not against botting. You guys, listen. The devs have made it clear they're not against botting. There's no penalty for botting. There never will be a penalty for botting. They have only given their good graces to guys like Diffkey and Thanopoulos or whatever his name is, who's going to be on my channel someday. It's coming. And all these other botting services, DFK Earn or whatever, okay? Shout out to all you guys and all you developers. They have only given the good graces to all these botting services for the game. Guess why they're sensitive about the botting situation? Is because a huge chunk of the community sits there and bitches about whales that bot. Well, guess what? Anybody can be a whale and anybody can bot now. There's lots of different, there's an awesome new one. I can't wait to tell you guys all about it. There's lots of options for botting. And we got to be careful and take it slow. Don't just dive in necessarily. But there's lots of options, good options for botting, for questing, because we're all about to blow our brains out from quest fatigue. Okay, we're ready for the real stuff to come, such as what we've all been waiting for, pets, PvE, and PvP. That's what we're all waiting for. So, am I bullish on Crystal? Now I'm real bullish on Crystal because it just dumped. Well, guess what? Now's the time to buy it because it dumped. So, what do, guys? We buy when it's low and we sell when it's high. What should we have done when we saw that Crystal hit 40 cents almost, I think, and Jewel was like at 19 cents? We sell Crystal and we buy Jewel. Now what do? Crystal's down, Jewel's up. We sell Jewel and we buy Crystal. Or we just buy them both because they're both totally bullish, but now they're on totally, we need to split up in our mind the difference. They're totally different, but they're both absolutely vital to the game, equally. So the problem with Axie Infinity was that, and Fate and Arena, and lots of these 2 token economic gaming systems, was that they didn't provide proper value for the shit coin, which was your earning coin. It's just heavy sell pressure, not much buy pressure. You have to have utility to buy. Okay, so what's the utility to buy Jewel? Gas fees, other little in-game potential use cases, and investors are going to buy that. Huge upside. Governance, which is important in a game like this. It's not like governance for Ethereum or something that's like kind of a bullshit governance coin, like Aave, like Uniswap, like SushiSwap. SushiSwap has more utility than even Uniswap, but they're all just kind of, yeah, they're needed for utility, for governance and voting. But this game is a whole different level of governance and voting for 50 million different reasons, okay? Even Cosmos has 50 more use case to the coin, unlike what you'll hear from a lot of YouTubers. Cosmos has a substantial larger amount of use case for their coin than even Solana, than a lot of the Definitely than an Aave, which I love the project of Aave and the team behind Aave. But it's like, why do you really need Aave? Okay, only one reason, for governance. That's all. And it's kind of BSE governance type stuff. Not anywhere near the same utility as a Cosmos, or definitely not a Polkadot. Way more use case for that coin. Huge use case, massive use case for Crystal, for the endgame utility, more than even Jewel. And this new coin that's going to essentially replace Jewel for Sandale. Okay? Those are still the main in-game coins. Jewel is now a different category of crypto. Jewel is now in your category of governance, gas fees, which is huge, by the way. I'm now burning through a lot of Jewel and gas. Didn't think I'd say that, but I'm burning through like at least 2 Jewel a day. So I'm here on kind of a vacation, and it's like, oh damn, I'm running out of Jewel on my gas, on my different wallets. I need to buy up more Jewel. Okay, that's just going to continue to increase. We have 5,000 daily users. That will 20x and be 100,000 daily active users. That's going to be a big benchmark that we're looking for. I mean, even 50,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 big benchmark, million massive benchmark. This, and then the upside could be multiple millions of daily active users, like we see on Roblox. And what's all these damn games that my kids watch on YouTube that drive me nuts? This game has more upside as far as a beginner project than anything that I see being developed out there. There's lots of good stuff being developed, though. We got like Illuvium that looks amazing. But this game has more upside than any of it, especially given, like, why do we need Illuvium token? Okay, I'm sure there's solid use case. There's more use case for both Crystal and Jewel than I know of, and anything else that I see out there. So both are bullish. Now we need, especially as Serendale shuts down and Crystalville gets ramped up, parity comes, we're going to actually need the Crystal, and we'll need the Jewel for the gas and the governance and the voting, all this and that. We're going to need it all. The gold will also continue to have in the items, the in-game items have so much utility. It's just so brilliantly thought out. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. You guys, nothing's better that I see. And I could be wrong. I've been wrong a lot. Crypto, anything can happen. You just never know. From what I see, as far as the team, use case, brilliance of the project, communication, the tokenomics, the careful, considerate thought of all factors in the game, I will always default to trusting the team until they give me a reason not to. And they only ever continually give me more and more and more reasons to trust that they will carefully consider their options and do what's right by the community and handle the in-game economics and mechanics properly. And this move with wisdom, instead of now being down to 2 devs working on PvP and PvE, now it's 8 devs, 6 of which are dedicated to the project from wisdom. It's all phenomenal. No reason, YouTubers out there, listen, no reason to get on your YouTube channel and bitch about DeFi Kingdoms. No reason to. You have no reason to do that. Now, could DeFi Kingdoms, back to Climb's point, could DeFi Kingdoms have come out and maybe announced that an up and coming tokenomics change is coming in this next AMA? Yes, they could have. To be fair, they could have straight up said, we are making, but here's the thing. We already knew that such massive changes were coming, you guys. So obviously, that AMA was the most important AMA in the history of the project coming. We knew that. Come on. Like, hello. That was the most anticipated AMA. So we knew all these different changes are coming. Now, did they outright come out and say a big tokenomics change is coming? No, they didn't say that. They could have said that. Okay, fair point. Maybe the team could acknowledge that they, looking back in hindsight, 50-50, when they're in a constant whirlwind of insanity, I would imagine that Frisky Fox would be more than willing to sit back, think about this for a second, and say, you know what? I could have mentioned an up-and-coming tokenomics change is coming. Here's what they did mention. There would never be a mass dumping of Jewel on the market. I've heard them say that. Also, other people have actually said that the team has addressed the unlocking of Jewel and that it's going to be dealt with. And what the insinuation we thought was coming was an incentive to incentivize us to lock it up longer and further, and which would then prevent a massive Jewel unlocking because of the incentive to not unlock it. Okay. So all we got to do is just trust the team. And then once the team gives us a reason to not trust them, okay, maybe we should move on to something else. If they pull some BS, but to even insinuate that, why insinuate that? You either believe in the project or you don't. If you don't believe in it, cool, just go. There's lots of other things out there you can go get involved in. I understand. It's been through a lot. DeFi Kingdoms, and anyone who's been down this crazy road of DeFi Kingdoms you've been through a lot. I sympathize and I empathize. There's not too many people on earth that have lost more money in DeFi Kingdoms than yours truly. And I am more confident and bullish than ever. Okay? That's where I'm at, baby. Love it. Had to give a shout out. It's another long video. Sorry, guys. I know. I get a lot of feedback. Your videos are too long. Sorry. Listen at 1.5x speed. I should say that at the beginning, not at the end of the video. Love you guys. Crypto Grady out.